Hi, my name is JC Park from Dankook University Dental College, and I'm very happy to be here and presenting my lecture to you. I'm also an Google Innovator and a Flip Learning trainer. My topic is the Moonshot thinking in medical education. What is Moonshot thinking? Let's say that everybody is developing the telescope to see the moon better. Someone is building infrared, ultraviolet, double lens, triple lens, something. But all of a sudden, one of the developers stops and thinks, why are we doing this? Well, to see the moon better. Then, wouldn't it be much better to actually build a rocket and to go to the moon and see and touch and feel the moon than by watching from using the telescope? That is moonshot thinking, shooting for the moon. Well, it sounds very difficult to build a rocket, but in fact, you are not limited by the old conventional traditional technology or way of thinking. That is why Google says it's easier to do the moonshot thinking because you are not limited by old things, but you can develop new technology and new way of thinking. So, what could be our moonshot thinking in medical education especially? For me, the moonshot thinking in my dental education is the best way to utilize the time I meet students in person. As you know, through the K-12, hundred and thousand of exams, students struggle to be here on the classroom. They are the winners, but eventually, I'm the only one who's talking in the classroom. I give the lecture, and they just write down the notes and memorize. That's kind of a waste of our everybody's time, everybody's effort. I'm not here to talk. It's in a one-way direction. I want to communicate. I want to collaborate. I want to create something together. So that is why I started doing the flip learning. In a traditional model, I was the only one who's giving the lecture in the classroom, and the students go home and they do their homework. But in a flipped model, we switch it, the direction. The students listen to my lecture from the videos, and then they come to my school and come to the classroom, and then they have hundreds and thousands of questions, and they started talking. And I just walk around among them, and I just guide them, and I just coach them. So in this model, we do not waste our group space. We used to waste group space by talking only the educators. But when the students go home and when they are in the individual space, they want to advance, they want to learn more, they want to practice more, but actually there's no one who can help them. But if you flip it, we do not waste our group space. In an individual space, students listen and learn my lecture, and then when they come back in the group space, if they have some ideas, if they have some questions, they can ask around and they can experiment and they can collaborate, and I help them. So it's the beauty of the flip learning. So this is me. I record many lectures into small pieces. It's called micro videos. They are usually 10 or 20 minutes between this time zone, and I upload them to the YouTube. So my students can use their smartphones or tablets, PC, anything. When they go in there, they can watch my lecture. And also, the general public, because my lecture is open to general public, people come in and they just learn the dentistry. So it's a very interesting communication with the general public too. We believe that students would watch my video 100%, but they just sometimes have their own great time and have some beer. Sometimes they are sick, so they sometimes skip the videos, right? So we want to check. So what I do is the whiskey. Watch, summarize, and question. They watch my video, and while watching my video, they take notes, and they summarize my contents. And then they give me one big question related to the lecture or to anything. Just they have to think of the one big question. And then they upload it to my Google Classroom. I have all the content, the videos and lecture notes, PDF, reading materials, anything I upload to Google Classroom, And when they go there, they can find anything, and their summaries and their questions go to the Google Classroom. So it's the everything is in one platform. And then if they finish their whiskey, they come into my classroom, and I immediately start the quiz. Every time when I see them, I start with a 5 or 10 minute quiz because I want to see how they have watched my videos, but also I want to listen to their voices. I have a 10 question problems, and then at the end of the questions, at the end of the quizzes, I always ask them some critical questions. How is my lecture? How am I doing? And also, how's their life? Is there any problem with them? Are they happy? And then I think that this is a very great time to listen to their real voices because it's every session. It's a immediate feedback. So it's really important to listen to their voices, and when they are in need, I can approach them and help them. And of course, these quizzes are done by Google Forms, and also it's a BYOD policy, bring your own device policy. So they can bring their smartphones, tablets, PC, the device doesn't matter. And eventually, I was the sage on the stage, but nowadays I'm the just guide, tour guide on their side. I just walk around and I talk and I make some jokes, and we are so friendly in the classroom, but eventually they are learning and they are peer teaching and peer learning. So I want to show you some recipes that I do in my classroom so that you get the idea how I achieve the Moonshot thinking in my lecture. Recipe one is the virtual reality. It is very difficult and also expensive to fully equip the instrument for the real high resolution virtual reality. But if you just lower the resolution, everybody can do this. So it's not a real moonshot, but it's kind of a disruptive innovation. So it's a low tech technology, lower level technology, but you can actually flip the whole market. So when I teach my students the incision design, the soft tissue management, and they have no idea what I'm talking about because they've never been to the operating room, but I can actually bring them, all of them, at the same time to my operating room using this Google Cardboard. This cardboard is made of the paper, and if you fold it and if you put your smartphone inside, and then if you move your head around, you can feel 360-degree the real immersive experience. So this is me. 70 of the students were invited to my operating room, and they have observed my surgery and also the environment in my position. How can I do that? There are many tools right now, but I use cheaper ones. So it's made from the Korean company, and it's called the 360 camera. So if you just bring it everywhere you go, and then if you record it, and then after, if you upload it to the YouTube does the difficult work, and it stitches the videos into 360-degree sphere. So within the YouTube platform, you can move around, you can scroll and drag, and you can see anything. And if you have a cardboard, you can just move your head, and you can feel and see the whole environment. The great advantage of this technology is it is the first person view. It is not the third person view. So it's so real and so immersive. Students are amazed by this virtual reality. You may think that, oh, I'm going to have to try that. But in fact, it's kind of late because we are already moving from VR to AR, the augmented reality. The augmented reality can be used in many different ways, but my favorite thing is the merge cube. If you go to the website and if you print it and if you fold it into a small square, you can actually hold it in your hand and put your smartphones on top of this merge cube, and this is what happens. It was the square, but inside my screen, now it is the heart with a beating heart. And if you zoom in and zoom out, and you can see inside. So it is impossible actually have the beating heart in your hand, but the students can really, really feel the real material. So it is the augmented reality. So if you have a chance to check on this merge cube technology. And my third recipe, and I think that every one of you will be happy to utilize this database because it's so huge. It's called Google Arts and Culture. And if you are teaching anything, you can find something related to your principle in this platform. For example, this is the famous the anatomy lesson of the Dr. Tulp, which is the very famous Dutch surgeon. And this picture was done by the Rembrandt when he was only 25 or 26 years old. And if you go to the Google Arts and Culture, you can see the description about this picture, and also you can use these magnifying glasses and you can zoom in, because the Google has taken this picture into gigapixel resolution, so you can zoom in and zoom in, you can go deeper and deeper. And from this picture, there's a very interesting thing. If you are related to the medicine, then you would immediately, not immediately, but you would see that something is wrong. The left hand does not really look comfortable, and it's so weird. But why? Why only this left hand, not the abdomen, but why this left hand was dissected first? So we want to take a look. What's going on? But something weird happens. There are muscles and there are bone and there are, tendons and nerves. But all of a sudden, we notice that something. What is this white cord? In the normal anatomy, we should not be able to see that, but it exists. In 2006, many researchers were interested by this mysterious structure, and they have labeled and they studied, and they concluded that maybe this is the anatomical variation of the ulnar nerve, because this is not a normal structure. But immediately in 2007, another researchers reported that they have seen this structure. They were doing the dissection of the cadaver in the middle-aged man, and they have found the same white cord materials. And they concluded that it is the tendon of the accessory abductor digiti minimi muscle, and then this is from the left side is from the cadaver. In the middle is the painting from the Rembrandt, and also this is the anatomy picture. So your students will be amazed that Rembrandt has painted this picture, and there is anatomical and variations, and there are hundreds of things to talk about this. If you want to go to this museum, you don't have to buy the plane ticket. Just go to the Google Art and Culture, and you can use this Google Street View. You can move and walk around in this specific museum, and you will find this picture in this room. And this is the room of the Rembrandt, and you can find many paintings by Rembrandt. So where are we? This is the Google Arts and Culture. Google has utilized many technologies, but this one is the gigapixel camera, which is the 1,000 times higher resolution than the normal DSLR camera. And then you can go deeper and deeper, and you can see the brush touch of the Botticelli from the Uffizi Gallery. This is the birth of the Venus, and you can see maybe the secret sign or something, or the fallen out of the colors, and you can have thousands of stories to talk about this one. So this is the Google Art and Culture. And finally, my recipe is to have some fun in the classroom. It's called the gamification, and during this gamification, we see that many students do peer teaching and peer learning. I'm not giving the lecture, but they learn and teach each other. I give some questions, very difficult questions, and within the time limit, they have to solve the problem, and they are allowed to escape the classroom. I sometimes take the picture, and then I give them prizes, and they have a escape room experience. It's not every classroom, but in one semester, maybe one or twice, I do this as a surprise. Sometimes I use these real locks. This is called Breakout EDU, and actually they sell these locks with characters, English characters, and numbers, and the directions, and you can make your own combinations. So this is my example. I put many enigmas and many questions into one box and 7 or 8 locks, and they have to open it. And if they open it, it's the physical feeling that my knowledge really, really works and solves the problem. So I think that this is a great example for them. But you might say that isn't it inefficient because it looks like the kind of waste of time. We have so many principles and knowledges and clinical observation and hands-on courses, and there is no time to do that. Yes, we are always short of time, but the problem is we were teaching too much about the knowledges. In 1956, Benjamin Bloom produced this taxonomy. And at the bottom of the pyramid, you see that the knowledge is the biggest part. It's the largest part of your lecture and the teaching. But in 2001, this pyramid has been revised by Lauren Anderson and David Krathwohl. And as you can see, from the noun, now they are verbs. So at the bottom, it's not knowledge, but it's to remember and understand. And also watch carefully at the tip of the pyramids. Now, evaluate has come down and create has came up to the top of the pyramids. So we are seeing the changes of remembering and understanding of the knowledge is not really, really big as it used to be, but creating and evaluating and analyzing, and these activities and in these skills are becoming much, much more important. So eventually, this is the revised Bloom's taxonomy recently, and you can see that the pyramid is inversed. Now remembering and understanding is the sharp and the very small portion, but even larger portion is the creating and evaluating and the analyzing about the knowledges. So, I've been talking about this moonshot thinking for the medical education. We all know it is very difficult because we have limited resources and limited time, and there are so many students, and I'm the only one who's in control. It is difficult, and also sometimes you have to see your own patients. We are so limited. But let's say, can there be any moonshot thinking, the groundbreaking approach for our medical education? And I think that it could be even easier because you are not limited by the old conventional way of thinking and doing and teaching. Thank you very much for your kind attention.